What's up everyone, it's Adam from FWCI. This is the Royal Rumble 2022 recap. We're going to have a quick look at all the matches and all the winners and losers. There's going to be some better than Baron Corbin's. Maybe you got to be joking me, or are you beauty here or there? So subscribe if you haven't already. This is World Wrestling Straya, episode 53.
Fellas, what is going on? It is the Loose Ledge, Adam Brooks here, and you are watching World Wrestling Straya. I love that name. Straya.
Thanks for checking this one out, everyone. Go check out World Wrestling Straya episode 52 if you haven't already. I talked to Kyle Peterson, who is an amazing action figure collector, knows everything there is to know about wrestling figures, and we talk about every Aussie wrestling figure that has ever been. It's a great conversation. If you like your action figures and you're collecting, I recommend going and checking that out. But let's talk about the Royal Rumble 2022. Obviously, the big news, we've got Ronda and Brock, the two former UFC fighters, winning their Royal Rumbles respectively, and yeah, I can't say that I didn't predict that Brock would win this one. And when I heard the rumors that Ronda was coming back, I assumed that that was probably going to be a given as well. So not the most surprising outcomes. But first of all, I just want to talk about Pat McAfee on commentary this year, especially during the Rumble matches. He was pretty exceptional. Jimmy Smith has not really, I don't know, has he fit into his role? I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown in months at this point. I keep half an eye on NXT because there's a bunch of Aussies there, but my WWE diet has reduced down to just the pay-per-views. I do watch the pay-per-views in full, but yeah, I haven't been watching week to week. I found Pat McAfee's commentary tonight to be, exceptional, as it always is. He's been a great pickup for WWE and always does a fantastic job. But let's talk about the matches. Opening the show was Seth freaking Rollins, apparently, is his name now. Alright, defeated by Roman Reigns in he defeated Roman Reigns by DQ in their title match. I thought this was match of the night, to be honest. Rollins was in fine form. They've managed to find in this cobbled together Roman feud. I'm sure this feud was supposed to be Jeff Hardy at the Royal Rumble for Roman Reigns, but obviously that's not going to happen, so they had to just, shoehorn Seth Rollins in there. I think they did a pretty good job. This is two of your top three guys, basically, so they should be able to go in there and do a great job, and they delivered. We had Becky Lynch defeating Doudrop in a singles match. This match was okay. I don't know why they don't just keep calling her Piper Niven. That was a great name. Doudrop is a terrible name. This match was alright. Piper Niven looked pretty good in this one, so it didn't really jump off the page to me, but I can't really complain about it. I'm not really a fan of this heel Becky character in general, so my ability to enjoy that match was a little bit limited as well. We then had Bobby Lashley with MVP defeating Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. This is where we finally got, I guess, the reveal that Heyman was working with Roman all along, because, Roman came out, cost Brock the title. I saw this coming a mile away. I was very confident that Bobby Lashley would be walking out with the WWE title, because it's very obvious they're building to Roman versus Brock. That's the match that they're building up to, and this was all just this storyline has consumed the entire product. It feels like you've got it influencing the Royal Rumble, you've got it influencing the WWE title, you've got it influencing the Universal Championship. I get they're trying to build a big marquee kind of match with these two, but again, it does feel like it's at the expense of everybody else in the company, getting their opportunity to shine. So Lashley with the win. We had Edge and Beth Phoenix defeating The Miz and Maurice by pinfall. This was a fun match. If Rollins versus Reigns wasn't as good as it was with the Shield entrance and all the mind games Rollins was playing, I would have said Edge and Beth winning the match against Miz and Maurice would have been match of the night, but this was a fun match. I'm glad we got to see it. I like the fact that they won with the Glam Slam, Edge hitting the Glam Slam. That was a nice touch as well. So I don't know what that says for this feud, if it's going to keep going or not. Maurice looks unbelievable as well, by the way. She was, I always looked at Maurice back in the Divas days and thought, some of these chicks look like they're here to wrestle. Some of them look like, you know, like supermodels that are just athletic. And I always put Maryse in that secondary category. She improved and got very, you know, proficient as time went on. And then obviously she left after a short while, and she's come back and, you know, she's kicking Father Time's ass at the moment because she looks absolutely incredible. Shout out to Maryse. I'm sure that's going to reach her. Then we had the Rumble matches. So we'll start off by talking about the women's, and I'm going to go through each of the entrants and just give a quick, you know, couple of word kind of idea of how I felt about them. So number one in the women's was Sasha Banks. Daniel Bryan was trending on Twitter after the women's Rumble because everybody's likening Sasha's elimination to Daniel Bryan getting dumped out in 2015. I don't think it's quite that bad. I don't know how positive people were that Sasha was going to win this match, but yeah, that was an interesting occurrence to see her get eliminated so soon. Melina, now this is probably the time to bring this up. All of the guest appearances that they had in this women's Rumble, I don't think they could physically do more than what they did, because every single one of them came in with the exception of Michelle McCool, Mickie James, and that's pretty much it. Alicia Fox did all right. Yeah, they all came in and were gone like within a matter of minutes. So Melina, amazing to see her back as well. She looked like she was genuinely, you know, overwhelmed with that situation. But again, one move over the top rope, that's it for Melina. So the fact that WWE's in this position where they don't have enough women to fill out this roster, and let's be honest though, they absolutely do. They have a whole roster full of women on NXT that didn't make it, which I'll get to in a moment. But everybody they brought in, it was clear that it wasn't that thought out, or there were limitations and things like that. So great to see Melina back, but not great to see her back considering how that played out. Tamina was in this match. That gives you an idea of, you know, the type of names we're going to see, I guess. Kelly didn't even look like the same person, to be honest. Looked like a completely different person. I don't know if that's age or if that's like surgery and stuff like that, but it didn't. I wouldn't have been able to pick her out of a lineup, to be completely honest. Aaliyah was in for a while. Again, not really jumping off the page to me as somebody to get excited about. Liv Morgan had a pretty decent run in there. She looked very, very tired well before she got eliminated. There was a lot of moves that she was doing where it looked like she was just very heavy-footed and just completely gassed. So I think it was a rough night for Liv Morgan. Queen Zelina, obviously getting the elimination of Sasha Banks. That was basically all she did in that match. Bianca Belair, yeah, hey, interesting to see how far she got into that Rumble again. I know a lot of people had her picked to win it. I think she had a pretty good showing, but I don't know, she was overshadowed in this match, it kind of felt like. Dana Brooke, I liked Dana Brooke. She's somebody that I've always had a bit of a soft spot for. I think she was good back in the NXT days when she very, very first debuted. And she's still around, so she must be developing or, you know, having, you know, use in other ways as well behind the scenes and stuff like that. So Dana Brooke, good to see her still getting around. I think she needs a more unique attire. That's all I say about that. Her attire looks very samey. In fact, it feels like all the women on the roster, all of their ring attire, you can kind of, you know, lock into 2 or 3 different styles and they all just look like that, but with a different paint palette. Michelle McCool, yeah, she had a pretty decent showing, and she even got an elimination as well, but it's Michelle McCool. You know, she can only do what she can do. Sonya Deville, that was interesting seeing them continue this storyline with her and Naomi. Sonya Deville's, I haven't seen her wrestle in so long. I can't even remember if she's any good in the ring or not, but she seemed okay in this match. Natalya had another big Royal Rumble showing as well, got a couple of eliminations. She's somebody who deserves a lot of respect. She's in ridiculous shape, and she has been consistently for over a decade at this point, well over a decade. So great to see Natalya still in the match and being a bit of a force. Cameron, wow. One half of the Funkadactyls. I always liked Cameron. She was always my favorite of the 2 Funkadactyls. Then I watched Total Divas and I was like, oh my god, what the hell is wrong with this woman? So, shout out to Vinny, by the way. He was my favorite part of that show. Cameron coming in, again, obviously couldn't do a great deal, was eliminated within, you know, a minute or 2. At least she didn't try and pin somebody while they were laying face down on the mat. Naomi was next.
Naomi, no friends. Hey?
I don't know if her and Cameron are mates. She didn't seem to stop too much to say are you okay, before she got in the ring and went after Sonya Deville. Naomi's good, but I think she needs to develop some more intensity. She always has this very no emotion in her face while she's doing her promos and while she's having her matches. That's what she needs to work on to really hit that next level, in my opinion. Carmella was in next. Whatever. Rhea Ripley. I hoped that she was going to get the win for the whole thing, to be honest. I think she's always deserving of it, but yeah, they're really booking her to look far more defeatable, I guess, is that a word, than she really should be. I think Rhea should just be dominating this division entirely at the moment. Charlotte Flair was in next. Why is she even in this match? She's a SmackDown Women's Champion. They said Charlotte wanted to solidify her spot in the main event of WrestleMania. Unless they've announced that, the Women's Rumble main event's night 1 and the Men's Rumble main event's night 2, if they're going to do the whole 2-night thing again, that makes no sense, because then in the Men's Rumble, they're talking about how this is to earn a championship match at WrestleMania. Nothing about the main event. So Charlotte's presence in this match was just bizarre. If she wasn't going to win it, I don't know why they needed to have her in it at all, to be honest. I think just give her the night off. Next was Ivory. Yes, Ivory in the right to censor clothes. Oh my god, this was so much fun. I love seeing Ivory in this match. Again, thrown out straight away, but she is 60. Even though she definitely doesn't look it. So, yeah, shout out to Ivory. She was fantastic. Brie Bella was in. Again, this was just filler at this point. Even though she's popular and people love the Bellas, filler at this point. Mickie James, the first ever Impact Wrestling champion to be recognized on a WWE product as the champion in a match kind of thing. Great to see her. She was looking pretty good as well. She's in fantastic shape, even though she's been doing this for a long time. And again, seeing them acknowledge that Impact Wrestling exists on WWE TV is a bit of a trip, to be honest. If I was Impact, I'd be very worried that WWE is going to come through with an offer. Because, yeah, you don't want that. Alicia Fox was out next, rocking some new tattoos. She got inked up since last time we saw Alicia Fox. Nikki ASH, so not a fan of this character. I think she dragged down Rhea Ripley a lot. Heel or babyface, not a fan. Give me crazy Nikki Cross like we had the NXT days. I think that's a much more interesting character to... Imagine if crazy Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley, the way she is, were a tag team instead than this superhero stuff. That would be a badass female tag team. So, sucks. She did have a very interesting moment, which I'll talk about after the reviews when I do the regular segments. Summer Rae, another one, could barely recognize. Looked very, very different. Had a couple of moments in there, but Nikki Bella, Nikki Filler, we'll call her in this one, because, she was just in there to make numbers. They had a couple of little moments, but nothing that interesting. Sarah Logan, love seeing Sarah Logan back. You didn't talk about like a cat's tail on a rocking chair, or whatever, cat's tail in a room full of rocking chairs, whatever it was. I always like Sarah Logan. Yeah, she looks like she hasn't wrestled in a while, though. She, I think she's had some kids or something like that. But she looks great. No matter what kind of shape she's in physically, she carries this, real kind of wild woodsman kind of vibe, and I always like Sarah Logan. Lita was in next. It kind of sucks that she didn't do more in this match. Molly Holly, that was a great moment with her and Nikki ASH. Again, in, out in a couple of minutes. Not even that. Ronda Rousey would come in at 28. She was the winner of the Rumble. I don't hate that decision to make Ronda the winner. Knowing how the men's was going to play out, I don't know, maybe I would have done it a little bit differently, but Ronda has so much more intensity and fire than any other woman on that roster, including Rhea Ripley. Like, there's the reason she's become so successful and so popular so quickly in the world of wrestling, other than, obviously her MMA reputation that she brings. She's good, and she's believable, and she's intense, and that's a big part of what people need to be a convincing pro wrestler. Shotzi Blackheart, in and out, very, very quick. That was disappointing to see, and it was fun seeing Ronda and Shayna Baszler team up for a little while as well. So, interested to see where that's going to go next. But that's my thoughts on the Women's Rumble. The highlight of that Rumble was Nikki ASH attacking Molly Holly when she came in, saying, "I'm the only superhero." When she, sprung on her from, behind the crowd barrier during the entrance, it was a great moment. I don't like Nikki ASH, and this was just something that really lent itself to her character in a perfect way. I don't know if having her do this character for 6 months is a good way to build up to one moment in a Royal Rumble that was actually interesting, because the rest of her run has been, yawn-inducing, but this was a great use of that character in this situation, so gotta give it credit. So let's have a chat about the Men's Rumble, won by Brock Lesnar. Like I say, I saw this coming a mile away. When Brock won the WWE title, my first thought was, okay, they're gonna unify the belts at WrestleMania or something like that against Roman. I knew that Brock versus Roman is where this was headed, no matter how we got there. So I know WWE maybe tried to do their best to convince the fans that it wasn't going to happen, but that's the thing with wrestling these days, is you can see these storylines coming so far away. It does make it difficult for WWE to, make stuff that people don't expect, but then don't be so stubborn on who needs to be in what spot. Like, the Royal Rumble must be won by one of the big names. Brock Lesnar, he's the name. Like, why not have I would be so down for the randomest Royal Rumble winner. Santino Marella nearly throwing out Alberto. Man, I would have been over the moon if Santino somehow won. You don't have to do it every year, but 1 year. Just let some absolute random underdog win it, and then build a story to it. What better story is there to build than somebody the fans truly don't expect to win it, going up against somebody who, has been dominating or whatever like that. So let's talk about the entrance of this one. AJ Styles in at number 1. He had a big showing. It kind of went off the rails when he got eliminated by Madcap Moss, that's for sure. But AJ versus Nakamura, that felt like a way of saying, hey, internet fans, like this Rumble, please. We give you AJ and Nakamura. Have this. It very much felt like that. Austin Theory had another long run in this Rumble as well. He was very impressive. Robert Roode got the TNA chant while he and AJ Styles faced off, which was an interesting one. And you can see they're looking around at the crowd like they were prompting that kind of chant from the fans. So I don't know. By the way, Vince McMahon's mother died today. She was 101. Believe it or not, she was still around. And I'm wondering if Vince McMahon's gone and now people are like, all right, I reckon we can get away with the TNA chant. I'm sure that's not what happened. But it's interesting that there was so much Impact Wrestling / TNA mentioned on this particular pay-per-view. And I love Bobby Roode. He would be someone I'd be very happy to see win a Royal Rumble out of nowhere. Ridge Holland was in there. I haven't seen much of him since he came to the main roster or in NXT, to be honest. He was never really around for that long. He looks pretty good. That's pretty much all I can say. Montez Ford, number 6. Again, this guy's a budding star. He was filler in this match. A lot of filler, again. And they didn't even tap into NXT and get any of the NXT guys, which was interesting. So Montez Ford, he was in the match. Damian Priest he got eliminated fairly lacklusterly by Omos. I mean, Omos is, Omos, but interesting that Damian Priest didn't go deeper into the match. Sami Zayn, followed by Johnny Knoxville. Now, I hate when they do this. They've been building up a feud between two people, and those two people, oh, what a shock. They happen to get numbers side by side in this. Johnny Knoxville looked like he was very much into it. Hopefully he took Steve O's advice and played dead. If you haven't seen that story, I'm sure you have. It's amazing. Johnny Knoxville, good celebrity appearance for what it was. But again, I felt like it was a little bit too short. Angelo Dawkins, again, he was in the match. Omos had a pretty good showing. They're really trying to get him over as the big guy on campus, and they have to because he's the only one they've got left. Ricochet, I would have liked to see more, but, it is what it is. He was in and out. Chad Gable, looking jacked, by the way. He looks in tremendous shape. Like I say, haven't watched the main roster for a while, but he's definitely way more, he's way bigger now than he was last time I saw him. I guess that's all those stakes and weights with his boy Otis. Who do we have next? Dominic Mysterio. Didn't do much to impress me in this one. Happy Corbin. Oh, man, it just makes me want to slam my head into a wall. Dolph Ziggler. Second overall Royal Rumble competitor. He's second only behind Kane, which was interesting. I think he had 12. Sheamus. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Sheamus, especially in Royal Rumbles. Huge Chris Jericho fan. I was watching the 2012 Rumble with a whole bunch of people that don't like Chris Jericho. I was the only one going for him, and it came down to Sheamus and Jericho. I was convinced this was Jericho's year, and Sheamus bro kicked him out of the friggin' ring, and I've never forgiven Sheamus for that. He got eliminated by Bad Bunny in a Royal Rumble when he botched the bro kick. I think that might put my soul at ease and rest this fiery hatred that I've had for Sheamus over the years. So I was happy to see Sheamus get eliminated the way he did. Rick Boogs, damn man, that guy is strong. As one arm body pressing Chad Gable, that's pretty damn impressive. I like Rick Boogs a lot. Madcap Moss, how is this guy on the roster when you look at the people that have been released? Unbelievable, but he looked absolutely ridiculous in these tiny shorts and overall things. I don't know what he was trying to pull off there. Riddle didn't really do a great deal in this match. Hit a pretty sweet RKO on Drew McIntyre though. Speaking of Drew McIntyre, he was in next. Seemed to be a shock that he was in this match. People were saying he was supposed to be injured. I expected him to be in this match, so it didn't shock me that much. But again, haven't been watching for a while. I don't like Drew. He's fine, but he's very, very, very boring. I was thinking about this the other day. Drew has like really long legs, but he's like a little bit uncoordinated as far as how to move them. And what I mean by this is, if you have a look at Booker T, especially back in his WCW days, same kind of build. Really, really long legs, like big muscular upper body, but Booker T was so nimble on his feet, so athletic, like so light, whereas Drew just seems to be very heavy on his feet instead. So I've never really thought Drew had that explosiveness that he needs with what they're trying to, present him as. He was obviously the last one eliminated. At that point, I had absolutely no doubt in my mind that Brock was winning it. Kevin Owens had a bit of a rough showing, I guess. He was only in there for a little while. He got some moves in here and there, but he's just re-signed, and good for him, I guess. He's going to make some money off that. Rey Mysterio was in at number 23, and again, this is another end of his career Royal Rumble appearance for Rey Mysterio. He seems to come in late, and then he gets kind of eliminated just before you get that final four, final five kind of number. But Rey Mysterio's a legend. I love the guy, and great to see him on TV doing his thing still. Kofi Kingston, they botched the Kofi moment there. I'm glad that they at least owned up to that and said, sorry man, you actually did get eliminated, instead of trying to just pretend it never happened, which is usually what we get. Otis was in at number 25, and I like Otis. I'm still getting used to this what do they call it? Gable Academy, Alpha Academy gimmick that he's got going on. But I know that he's actually mates with Chad Gable in real life. So for that fact alone, I'm glad they're doing it, and I hope they have a great time. Number 26, Big E. My kind of pick. I suspected Big E might actually win it, but yeah, no, he was an afterthought in this. Number 27 was Bad Bunny. That's fine. This guy clearly loves and respects wrestling, so I'm fine with him being in these kind of matches here where you need these sort of surprises. Again, the fact that he eliminated Sheamus, I should go out and download his album right now, or stream it on Spotify, or whatever it is we have to do with new music these days. Good on him. He had a pretty decent showing, and if he has a match at WrestleMania, I'd be happy with that. Number 28, Shane McMahon, and the crowd went fucking nuts. Does he live in St. Louis? Is that what that was? Because I don't know why those fans would be cheering Shane McMahon coming back to wrestling. Do they not remember the Best in the World tournament and all these... It looked like he was trying harder on his punches, I won't lie, but the McMahon's fetish for themselves is getting so old. And Shane McMahon came in this match very, very strong, very formidable, and dominated. There is a place for Shane McMahon to have matches, but it's not coming into the Royal Rumble and beating up every, current in their prime wrestler that is on the roster. So I was confused. I understand why he was in the match, but I was shocked at the crowd response more than anything else. Number 29 was Randy Orton. I didn't even think St. Louis was his hometown. That crowd went absolutely apeshit. They expected Orton to win that match. And I don't know how I would have felt about that, to be honest. I don't think we need another Randy Orton Royal Rumble victory, but it was great to see him get the hometown reaction. I guess he's not a babyface that often, so getting him as the hometown boy is probably something we don't see that regularly. This crowd in general was very excited to be at this wrestling show. They were very loud, they were very responsive, and that Randy Orton pop was that might have been the biggest pop of the night, maybe, other than, I don't know if there was a bigger one at the start for Roman perhaps, or Rollins in the Shield getup. By the way, anybody else think that Moxley might actually show up when they started really leaning into all the Shield stuff for that? There were rumors about Forbidden Doors. I never really expected it, but at the end of that Rollins and Reigns match, when Reigns was just beating Rollins down, a part of me was like, where is this going? And then it just kind of went nowhere. Reigns just walked off. Number 30, Brock Lesnar, winner of the Royal Rumble. I'm pretty sure he won the Royal Rumble from the number 30 spot. Yeah, he won from the number 30 spot in 2003 as well. He beat Big Show. No, Taker was number 30. Brock was supposed to be number 30, and then he just came out in 29, and then Taker was there at 30. So I don't think that... The thing is, there's so much meat on the bone of this Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns feud. I don't think you need Brock Lesnar to win the Royal Rumble to challenge Roman Reigns for that title. There's so many other ways that you could get to that match without consuming the Royal Rumble into that storyline. So it really feels like at this point, going into WrestleMania, it's going to be I guess we're going to have Ronda Rousey. Hey, who's she going to challenge? Because it's Becky Lynch and Charlotte, and she's got history with both of them. So it's going to be Ronda versus whoever, probably Charlotte, I'm guessing, considering she was in the match, and Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, and that's it. What else have they got sort of lined up for that show? Like, I don't know who's going to be Bad Bunny. Maybe we'll get Bad Bunny and Johnny Knoxville versus, I don't know, friggin' Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Probably something like that, I'm guessing. If that happens, you heard it here first. So the show was okay. The Women's Rumble was fun but sloppy and poorly booked. The Men's Rumble was average with a very predictable ending. The highlight of the Women's Rumble was Nikki ASH attacking Molly Holly. The highlight of the Men's Rumble was Sheamus getting eliminated by Bad Bunny. Match of the night, Reigns versus Rollins, 100%. But I've got some regular segments on this show, and we're just going to smash through those. The first one's called You Gotta Be Joking Me.
You gotta be joking me!
So this is the segment where I have a look at what happened on this show and say, you gotta be joking me. And I think it's real obvious. No NXT wrestlers on there. Not even in the Women's Royal Rumble. They had Summer Rae come in and Kelly, who both... as far as like being able to actually perform to a world-class standard. Meanwhile, Mandy Rose is on the bench. Indy Hartwell is on the bench. Raquel Gonzalez, I think she might be injured, but she's on the bench. She was a sleeper to win the whole thing that I had. We didn't even see any of them. Dakota Kai on the bench. Gigi Dolan on the bench. Persia Pirotta. I mean, there are so many great female talent in NXT that they could have used, and male talent as well. I'm shocked we didn't get Grayson Waller in the Royal Rumble. I'm shocked we didn't get to see Bron Breakker in the Royal Rumble, or even Tommaso Ciampa or something like that. Like, there's Carmelo Hayes. Can you imagine if he showed up in the Rumble? Feels like a huge missed opportunity. I don't know if this is more of this hangover from Vince McMahon taking over NXT, because the last few Rumbles, we've had a spattering of NXT talent in both, especially in the Women's Rumble. So very curious that there was no NXT talent this year. I feel bad for those guys, especially like Indy Hartwell in particular. She's been doing such an amazing job on that brand. She seemed like an obvious one to put in this match, and yeah, we got nothing. And that's why it's this week's You Gotta Be Joking Me.
You gotta be joking me!
But I can't have a You Gotta Be Joking Me without following it up with a bit of positivity, so let's have a look at this week's You Beauty.
You beauty! You beauty!
This week's You Beauty was an easy one. Ivory returning in her right to censor gear. That was an absolute highlight of that. Ivory looked amazing. I don't think I've ever heard the right to censor music get a cheer before, but Ivory coming out was the sleeper highlight for this entire Royal Rumble. I didn't really get much from like the big matches and stuff like that. Again, they just feel too predictable at this point. Ivory coming out is something I definitely didn't predict, and I'm so glad that they did it. She gets this week's You Beauty.
You beauty! You beauty!
And lastly, this is going to be a very quick and easy one. Who's this week's better than Baron Corbin?
Well, Nakamura has swiped the crown again. Setting Corbin.
Drew McIntyre. He eliminated Baron Corbin, therefore he is better than Baron Corbin by definition. Drew McIntyre, congratulations! You're better than Baron Corbin.
Now from behind Corbin. Corbin eliminated as well.
Bring it!
And that's going to do it, everyone. Thank you for checking out this video. I am covering WWE 2K22 on this channel as well, so if you haven't subscribed and you're interested in some updated 2K22 videos and content when the game comes out, I'll be covering it at midnight on that night. Subscribe here, make sure you don't miss out on any of that. Follow me on Twitter at FWCIE or Instagram at FWCIETC. You know the little thing, I'll probably put a little dealy down there so you can see it. Join me next time for more World Wrestling Straya. And as always, everyone, be well, stay safe, look after your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.